Okay, ballasting turnouts. How do I ballast my turnouts, and more specifically the points, without gluing them together? This is a really good question that was raised earlier on in the channel, and now I want to address it because I'm at this stage on the river road diorama where I'm laying track and gluing and ballast and so on. Okay, so let me preface with this. You can use carpenter's glue at whatever diluted ratio you desire to do just about everything on a model railroad, including ballast, scenery, building flats. It really, you can do most of the work with that adhesive, apart from other specific applications. But in this case, I like to use matte medium for my track, and I'll tell you why. Number one, matte medium, well in this case super, which just means super flat, which is desirable for me, this is like a medium to mix with paint, right? But it's also an adhesive. Most emulsified products for acrylic paint are really adhesives at the end of the day. However, with matte medium, you can dilute it quite a bit in a similar way as glue, but it doesn't have the same adhering properties. Like they're sort of rubbery kind of texture, so you can actually pop the points. Like if the points do get glued, to the closure rail or just on top of the ties, you can actually rock them back and forth the next day. If it's thin enough, if it's thinned properly, which I'll mention in a second, they'll pop no problem, and they'll hold in like the ballast. This left side is glued, this side's loose. They'll hold the ballast no problem, right? Okay, so I usually mix 25% matte medium with 75% water. It says on the back here, 25% water to 75% matte medium, but that's what they're always going to say, right? Because, look, I know it's not a conspiracy, but they want you to buy more product, obviously. I mean, anybody would, but you can thin these products down over and over and over again, and they'll still work in regards to our model railroads and dioramas, etc. So last night when I did this part, some of this matte medium mixture, which is 25% matte medium, 75% water, I could see it wicking into the throw bar and the points here. And it was sort of milky colored, so I know that's matte medium. Now, I just sprayed a little extra water for insurance. But the next morning, it was stiff, but I just went like this, it popped, right? Okay? But here's all hard and nice, all right? So when I ballast like this, like when I drag this ballast down into the turnout here, I'm going to keep this at a minimum in here. But I'm going to ballast the outside normally that I do. And when I wet this down, which will be for my wetting agent, I use about 8 fluid ounces of water in a spray bottle with about 1 ounce of isopropyl alcohol. Because I find the isopropyl alcohol helps to reduce the tension of the water, but it also helps to evaporate the water. And that's what I want. I want the water to evaporate and then this to chase in behind and glue the ballast, right? That's why I use isopropyl for a wetting agent. I don't use detergent. I don't like putting slimy soap on my layouts, but that's my preference, each to his own there. So what I do then is I take this here and I just wick in from the outside of the ties. And you can see it, like you can walk away and an hour later you see it sort of milky white. Like it'll find its way in here on its own. I don't like to flood this area because then it tends to capillary into everything more than what I need. So I flood it in from the outside and everything will be fine if you keep this ratio down. Like less is always better. Like this matte medium, especially this stuff, is really good quality. So even if you could try a 10% matte medium to 90% water, and I'll bet you it'll glue your ballast the next day. Like it'll feel loose for hours and you'll doubt it, but the next morning she's glued in place. And all I had to do was pop that, and it was fine. Like when it wicked in from this end. And I'm going to do it with full confidence here, and everything will be okay. So that's what I use. I use matte medium for all my track ballasting. Better safe than sorry. Cheers.